Mission 83 is accomplished. The Orlando Magic are heading to the postseason, and they did it their way, playing their style of basketball. It's time to recap a momentous night at the Kia Center that actually doesn't mean much. We'll get to that on today's episode of Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is March 20th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the expert and site editor over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic punched their ticket to the postseason. They have accomplished Mission 83. We'll talk about how the Magic did it and what it says about them, plus why it's not that big of a deal after all. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. At the beginning of the season, way back in October, I know it's a long, long time ago, I declared wholeheartedly that our mission this season, that the goal of this season was to play an 83rd game, Mission 83. Back then, we did not know how good this team could be. We did not know anything. We only knew that the next logical step in their growth from 13th in the Eastern Conference and, before the 3 losses there, the last team eliminated from postseason contention, the only way for them to grow was to reach the postseason some way, somehow. Whether they were playing in a 7-game series or playing in the play-in tournament, playing an 83rd game was the only measure of success. With 13 games now remaining this season, the Orlando Magic have accomplished that goal. The Orlando Magic will play an 83rd game this season. They will be in the postseason in some form or fashion. That is thanks to a 112-92 victory over the Charlotte Hornets, which gives them now 41 wins on the season. The Brooklyn Nets, who sit in 11th, now have 42 losses, or 43 losses, if I'm not mistaken. They cannot catch the Orlando Magic. There are not 10 teams better than the Magic in the Eastern Conference. This is a small goal, and we're going to talk about why this goal is insignificant, but it is significant. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not. To sit here and say that the Magic are playing postseason basketball is significant because it's something the Magic haven't done since 2020. Having a winning record, and that's probably the bigger deal, having 41 wins, is something this Magic team hasn't done since 2019. And that they got their 41st win in the penultimate game of the season. We still got 13 games left, kids. This has been a monumental season. And the team took the right approach. And we're going to talk about some of the things that they said about it here in a minute. But I think it's also important to recognize your stepping stone goals. In order to make the playoffs, you have to make the play-in. And the fact that this team hasn't done this before is a sign that this is something new. This is something worth stepping back and reflecting on. But let's not reflect on the minor goal that the Magic have accomplished. And again, I will repeat, this is a minor goal. Being a top 10 team in your conference should not be, we're not unfurling the banner. I don't have a banner to unfurl, but while I want to note this and celebrate it, it's not the end goal. And that's what we'll get to in the second segment. How the Magic did it, though, is so much more important because it does preview that this team is on to bigger and better things, that this team is going to accomplish something none of us could have imagined back in September and October. What the Magic did Tuesday night against the Charlotte Hornets was exactly what we've been calling for what I've been calling for on this show, a focused, determined effort from the very jump playing Magic basketball. If I want to explain to someone what Magic basketball is, I'm going to show them the first half of this game. 27-17 in the first quarter, 40-15 in the second quarter. They held them to 32 points in the half. They led by as much as 41 points in the first half. They got whatever they wanted. They defended with passion, intensity, ferocity, all kinds of adjectives. It was a downright dominant performance, just plain and simple. Downright dominance. What we expect from this team, and certainly against a team like Charlotte. Again, we're not going to judge this team based on beating the Hornets. They should beat the Hornets. They've beaten them 3 times now. But the way they did it mattered. They defended, forced turnovers, disrupted, rebounded. Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac just ate up whoever they were guarding. And Jalen Suggs was hunting bigger guys. He wanted Grant Williams. He wanted Brandon Miller. He wanted Miles Bridges. This fight and tenacity has defined this Magic team all season long. It is at the heart. It is central to who this Magic team is. Beyond that, it was ball movement. Using that defense to create offense, including 20 points off turnovers and 18 fast break points. It was using that defense to create offense and then ball movement from there. The Magic had 32 assists on 44 field goals. That's pretty darn good. And of course, it was the joy of it all. The highlight, the biggest highlight of the night, maybe one of the highlights of the year. Jalen Suggs rips the ball away from, I believe it was Brandon Miller. Starts a fast break, feeds Paolo Banchero. Paolo immediately goes behind the back to Jalen Suggs, backtracking to the corner. Suggs has no choice at that point but to shoot it. He turns and looks at the crowd before it goes in. And I remember sitting there watching, and I was like, Jalen, you better make that shot with that pass. And he made it. And it sent the crowd sellout crowd at the Kia Center into hysterics. This was a good old time. This was a grand old time. And that's, frankly, Magic basketball. That's how the Magic play. That's what the Magic do. They play with this verve, this fun, this joy, this excitement, this energy. This is who they are. And so again, clinching a play-in spot at minimum, I want to celebrate it. I want to note it. I want to mark it. But it's not a big deal. Doing it this way, having a celebratory night at home to do it, but doing it this way, the way that got you to this point, that's the part that matters. Because for the longest time, we've been saying the Magic got to play to their standard. They got to do X, Y, and Z. They got to be themselves. And frankly, I've been disappointed with the way that they played in some of these games. Saturday's episode of Locked On Magic, breaking down the game against the Raptors in Toronto, I noted the Magic aren't playing against the opponent. They're playing against themselves. And that night, they did not do the job. You can talk about the game against Washington, game against Utah, even the game against Charlotte on the road a couple weeks ago, where the Magic did not play to the standard, or did not seem to play to the standard. They played enough to the standard to get the win, but the wins aren't enough. This was a game where the Magic showed us what they can do, what happens when they're clicking on all cylinders, what it means to play their best in March and April. And now comes the challenge, as we noted on yesterday's episode when we went through the schedule. Now comes a challenge: New Orleans, Sacramento, Golden State, and the Clippers. Can the Magic stand up to some legitimate competition? Because again, the Hornets are playing better. Didn't look like it on Tuesday night, but their margin for error is, admittedly, as Steve Clifford said before the game, very, very small. The Magic, though, have put themselves in that spot. They have climbed up the ladder. They're a playoff. They're a postseason team, folks. Like no other way. Yeah, it's official now. But that's not the thing we're celebrating. That's not the end of the story. And that is what really drives this team. We'll talk about why Tuesday was just another ho-hum day after all, coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With more than 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. As you know, Locked On Net has now launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. Well, baseball fans, today is your day. Today, March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, join Locked On Sports Today for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to that 24/7 channel, Locked On Sports Today. Today, Wednesday, March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, be the first to get local insight from the MLB local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, you can find it today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Like I said, I want to mark what the Magic accomplished on Tuesday. Look, they had a great game, and we're going to go through the box score here at the end, as we always do. They played about as perfect a first half as they played all years. It was. I am happy. Like if you've listened to this show now, ever since it's become very clear the Magic are going to the playoffs, I am holding them to a little bit of a higher standard. This is the first game, and the Toronto game I was pretty happy with too. There's a lot to be happy about with the way they played against Charlotte. And I know you could complain a little bit about the third quarter, but the game was academic at that point. I'm not going to be too upset. Again, they gave up 60 points in the fourth quarter. So maybe in the second half. So maybe we should be a little concerned. But no, they played garbage time for the last 9 minutes. So I do think it's important to mark what the Magic have accomplished and what the Magic have established now. I think that is important. But to a man, as we noted this, as we commented, like, hey, you've accomplished this. This is done. This part, this part of the checklist is done. Check it off. Mission 83 accomplished. You're playing an 83rd game this season. Hopefully it'll be followed by game 84, 85, 86, and long after that. But to a man, the players said, this is not the goal. We aren't in it just to be in the play-in tournament. They want to be in the playoffs. And of course, they've got a little bit of a cushion. They're, I believe, 2.5 up on Philadelphia now for fifth. They're 3.5 up on Miami. They're 3 up on Indiana, 3.5 up on Miami. They are in really good position to secure a playoff spot, to be among the top 6 seeds, which, again, besides Markelle Fultz's tweet from last year, I don't think anybody saw that coming. There are optimists, and there are some optimists, but a lot of us, even I think the optimists would say, like, being where the Magic are now feels like a dream compared to where we were at the beginning of the season. But expectations have changed. Confidence has changed. Bravado has changed. The Magic have changed. This is not the end of the story for them. This is the beginning of it. This is the continuation of it. Because at the end of the day, what this is all about is the belief they have in each other and the work that they put in, not just this year, but over the last 3 years. That's what the Magic are playing for. And throughout the course of the season, they have noted that. Mo Wagner, during the 9-game win streak back in November, said this win streak wasn't built this year. It's been built over the last 3 years. It's been built together with this group that has largely been kept intact for 3 seasons to get to this point. There is, why is this team so successful and so connected? It's because they have worked and bought in together for 3 years. They know that this is not the end of their story, that they can work together to accomplish more, to be the 4th seed. That's out there. Don't pretend that they don't know. And I think they want it. Obviously, a half game behind the Knicks. They don't completely control their own destiny on that front. But don't think that they don't want that 4 seed. That they don't want to take that climb, to be that team, to have home court advantage, to shock everybody and force them all to come to Orlando for game 1. Don't think that they don't want that. Because they, like the rest of us, see a limitless future. This is obviously not the end of the story. Typically the teams that are in the play-in are fighting for that play-in spot to the last game of the season. We still got 13 games left. We still got 3.5, 4 weeks left of the season. This is not the end of the story. There is still a lot to fight for and a lot to gain. And so there is no chance or opportunity to celebrate a mini milestone, a mini marker. That's not what this team is about. Instead, this is a chance to redouble the work, to get back to work, to see what's possible, because Tuesday showed us what's possible, and to keep building and growing, to keep maturing and developing, to, as Jamal Mosley put it, to keep doing the work. What has made this team special in Jamal Mosley's estimation is they have done the same work when they won 22 games, when they won 34 games, as they have and are doing now that they've won 41 games. They are not done. They don't want to be done. They want to keep working and want to keep building. This team, as Mosley said, yeah, they'll note this. They know what's up. Media's told them. We've made it a point to tell them. We told Cole Anthony that they could clinch the play-in tournament on Tuesday morning and shoot around, and he was like, he didn't. I don't think he even registered how close that was. I have had a few people ask me what's the magic number to clinch the Southeast Division. It is now 12. That's a little far out, but those numbers are going to creep down very quickly. We will see what the next thing the Magic will be, what the next thing the Magic will accomplish is. But everybody knows that they have to stay hungry. As Mo Wagner said during the 9-game win streak, we want to be greedy. We want a 10-game win streak. We want an 11-game win streak. We want to keep this feeling alive. Just like this team has learned from their mistakes, they learn from their successes too. And that's been perhaps the greatest lesson of the season. The Magic have learned from every experience of the season. They have kept their eye on the prize. They've kept their eye on the goal that actually matters. It ain't the play-in, kids. As much as we're noting it and celebrating it, because I made Mission 83 my calling card. That was my rallying cry. Mission 83. That's done. The Magic have 13 games now to secure home court advantage, to give themselves the best opportunity to rack up and stack up wins. Why can't this team win 50 games? Why can't they go 9-4 the rest of the way? Why not? Not that they'll be favored in every game that they play the rest of the way, but they have as good a chance to win every game, save that game at Milwaukee, because that back-to-back is stupid and I want to throw it into the sun. They should feel they have a chance to win every game left on their schedule. That's the confidence that they've built this season because of their success and because of their belief in each other. This is a monumental moment for the Magic. This is a monumental season for the Magic. One that we are not going to forget for a very, very long time, because guess what? After this year, the pressure's on to keep winning. This is the fun year. This is the year you get to have the most fun because there is no pressure. There is no expectation. Everything is fun. And everyone right now is having a ton of fun. Next year, the Magic will be expected to do better than whatever they do this year. If they're the 4th seed this year, they're going to be expected to do it again next year. Just ask our friends from Sacramento how that's going. It's not going to be easy. But the Magic have laid the groundwork to make sure this is not the end of the story. And obviously, there's a lot more story to write here in the 2024 season. We'll go through the final box score, break down what the Magic did against the Charlotte Hornets. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at Nissan. Are you the kind of driver who likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. It's got class exclusive Google built in, which is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right in to the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. It has room for up to 8 and expansive cargo capacity and advanced available 4x4 capability with 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check it out today at shop.nissanusa.com. That's nissanusa.com. Shop at nissanusa.com. That's what it says in the banner if you're watching on YouTube. Sorry. Okay, let's go through the box scores. The Orlando Magic defeat the Charlotte Hornets 112-92. This game was over at halftime. Just plain and simple. Game was over at halftime. Orlando blows it open. Orlando dominated the first quarter, 27-17. Just completely decimated Charlotte. Their defense was just swarming and suffocating. And then they carried it over into the second for a 40-15 second quarter. Charlotte they were broken. Orlando forced turnovers. They got out in transition. They played Magic basketball. Like I said, if I were to try and explain what Magic basketball is to someone, that first half is what I show them. Like I would just say, you want to know what Magic basketball is? Here's the first half of the Magic's game against the Hornets. Just plain and simple. They played awesome. Just awesome. Awesome basketball. I was so pleased, so happy with what I saw from this team. Just, you could tell it takes a little bit to make me happy and satisfied. When you're playing these teams, the Magic were just so good. And look, no one got their numbers. Paolo scored 13 points on 6 for 7 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, 5 assists. Just, again, did whatever he wanted. The Magic did a really good job getting him into spaces where he could create some room, get by the defense before they loaded up on him. Charlotte was really hesitant to double, and he ate that up. Franz Wagner had 11 points, 4 for 9 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul line. Got a little frustrated with some shots in the third quarter, but he was really efficient in the first half, got to the basket, just doing whatever he wanted, just able to use his body to create contact and separation so he could get to his layups and protect the ball and finish at the rim. Just he was really good. I know the numbers are going to say it. He missed some shots in the third quarter, and you could see him get frustrated with some of those misses. But he was really good again. Not only played with Wendell Carter was he had 4 turnovers. 2 of them were foot on the line on 3-pointers. Like, turnovers were the only complaint. We may talk a little bit about turnovers tomorrow. 18 turnovers, 16 points. Again, that's the only complaint that we can really have about the Magic. I think they had 5 in the first quarter. So a little sloppy at times, but again, a lot of the Magic's turnovers are not live ball turnovers. It's a lot of, you get some 24-second shot clock violations in there. You get some foot on the line, 3-pointers, throwing the ball out of bounds. Like, the Magic's turnovers don't kill them. Well, I have a story coming up on that on OrlandoMagicDaily.com. So we may chat again about that tomorrow a little bit, or in the future here, since that is a big bugaboo for the Orlando Magic. But again, Wendell Carter had 8 points. Like, again, you're looking at guys. Franz played 23-50. Paolo played 26-26. Wendell Carter played 23-50. Jalen Suggs was freaking awesome. 16 points, 6 for 9 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Just look, Jamal Mosley started calling Jalen Suggs the head of the snake of this team's defense, and their defense was awesome again. The Magic have the best defense in the league since the All-Star break. I know the Knicks have played some really good defense lately, so again, it's small sample sizes. We know who they're playing. The Magic are just handling teams defensively. Like, I'm excited to see them play the New Orleans Pelicans and go through this stretch of playoff games, because I think their defense is playing its best this season, and I'm excited to see them get challenged by better teams. Quite frankly, like, Charlotte doesn't do it for me. Toronto doesn't do it for me. Detroit doesn't do it for me. Like, they need to get tested by some legit teams, because this Magic team is destroying teams on defense right now. And again, Jalen Suggs starts all of it. He's just so disruptive. If the ball is loose anywhere near him, he's going to get his hands on it. And he is so good at pushing the pace. Like, the Magic just don't have a lot of guys that want to play super fast. Jalen Suggs forces everyone to play faster. Jalen Suggs forces everyone to just go. And he is frankly awesome to watch. And again, like, the Magic blew this game open because Charlotte could not do anything with Suggs on the ball. And the Magic switched so much that Suggs finds his way to the ball. He is a magnet for the ball. He's got to be on the all defensive team. Like, let's just put that into the universe. He is on the all defensive team. I think he should be first team all defense. I know Drew Holiday is going to get a spot on the first team all defensive team. Jalen Suggs should definitely get a lot of consideration for that. His shot making is so much better. Like, he was getting downhill. He's finally getting to the basket a little bit more too. Just an awesome game. Again, he only plays 24-53 in this game. So that's why he only gets 16 points. Cole Anthony finally had a big breakthrough game. 21 points, 9 for 12 shooting, 3 for 5 from deep, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 19 of those 21 in the first half. I think, let me just check what he had in the second quarter. Second quarter, he had 17 points. It was perfect 7 for 7. He started the game 8 for 8. Cole just got where he wanted on the floor, made the shots, made those slip shots, made the floaters that he likes to make, made his threes. Like, Cole looks good when he makes the shots. And look, he's been able to get to his spots all year long. He's just kind of missed some good opportunities for him and good options for him. This was a perfect game for him. Like, just led the charge. And because he played so well, that just elevated everyone in that second unit just a little bit more, because, you know what you're going to get from Mo Wagner, 13 points, 5 rebounds for him. Jonathan Isaac also just smothering. 8 points, 2 for 2 shooting, 1 for 1 from beyond the arc, 3 for 3 from the foul line. They didn't need to play him in the second half. He played only 7:50 in this game. That one stretch, he scored 8 points in 8 minutes. Like, he was everywhere. The 3-pointer is looking a lot more confident. He's looking a lot more comfortable on the floor and just energized. And, there's like one play where I just chuckled to myself when I was watching it in the second quarter, where Jalen Suggs was guarding Brandon Miller and Jonathan Isaac was guarding Grant Williams. And they were trying to run a pick and roll with them, or trying to run an action involving the two of them. And Jalen Suggs prevented Brandon Miller from ever getting there. And Jonathan Isaac just enveloped Grant Williams and didn't let him get anywhere. And that possession for Charlotte just went nowhere. There's a steal that Jonathan Isaac had where he literally was like a cornerback shooting the gap, just cut in front of Grant Williams at the last second. And it just felt like he just enveloped him. Like, he was just like, oh, Grant Williams is gone. The Grant Williams does not exist anymore. Jonathan Isaac's really good. Like, when he's healthy like this, and I'm excited for him to get a healthy summer. I hope he can stay healthy this summer. The Magic are going to have a hard time keeping him off the floor in the playoffs because he just does so many positive things. It's just insane. Again, the Magic got whatever they wanted. They played their deep bench guys for the final 9 minutes of the game. Admiral Schofield had 5 points in 6 minutes. Like, it was the Magic just cleaned house. They just worked them in this game. At the end of the day, Magic shoot 54.3% from floor, just 12 for 34 from three. That percentage came down a lot in the second half. Only 12 for 13 from the foul line. Didn't need to get there. Again, they had 18 turnovers. That was really the only demerit of the day. Charlotte ends up shooting 48.1%. They shoot a lot better, play a lot better in the second half. Let me get you their first half shooting numbers. In the first half, they shot 34.3%, 12 for 35 from 4 for 16 from 3. They were 9 for 29 for the game. So again, just not a great three-point shooting game for them. They did have 17 turnovers for 20 points for the Magic. Feasted on their turnovers. Charlotte was not quite able to feast on the Magic's turnovers in the same way. And again, the second half was just academic. Orlando led, again, I'm pulling out my stat sheet here. Orlando led 67-32 at the half, so a 35-point lead. Not that there's never been a team to come back from that. Charlotte did cut the lead down to 21 at one point with the bench group in, and I got a little nervous. But this game was over at halftime. Again, Orlando had, their turnover rate was actually still pretty bad in the first half, so turnovers are still an issue, but Orlando just so dominated this game defensively. If their defense was set, they were shutting them down. Like Vasa Micic, Vasilije Micic had 20 points. He had 18 of Charlotte's 32 points in the first half. That's how silly the Magic's defense was in this game. And again, Cole Anthony matched him. So the Magic defeat the Hornets 112-92. Orlando is officially postseason bound. They have clinched a spot in at least the play-in tournament. Obviously, a lot more work to do. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic or watching today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them it's on podcast to your podcast-enabled listening device for the latest on the Orlando Magic. Be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. Be sure also to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub. You can find extra articles and more Magic content on the Orlando Magic Hub at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. And as always, thank you for your support. Now that you've done this to us, be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and now available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Like I said, on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, I think we'll talk a little bit more about turnovers. We'll also talk some NCAA tournament and NBA draft. I will reveal my brackets, my final four prospects I want you to keep an eye on as we get ready for the NBA draft. We'll talk NCAA tournament as well as some Magic stuff tomorrow. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, congratulations on accomplishing mission 83. On to the next. That's getting home court advantage. Sorry, Locked On Knicks. We're coming for you. We'll see if the Magic can do that. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.